Hey everybody, welcome to this episode with fellow toolboxers of the Immigration Lawyers podcast. And this is a fun segment we do with one of our best vendors for the immigration practice system. It's a quarterly we do with one of the founders of Docketwise, James Pittman, getting updates about the process. James and Docketwise general being so gracious and such great sponsors of the podcast, the magazine, and a lot more. So I love having them come on, especially because we have Docketwise and learning about the new systems they have in place because we get the emails letting us know, but sometimes it gets lost. Like, oh, I didn't even know they had this extra feature or this and that. So for listeners, and a lot of my listeners are Docketwise users, and it's probably factually correct because as James could talk about is AILA's most recent survey, the most used software for immigration lawyers was Docketwise by a margin, and it was a jump from the previous one. So if you're listening to this and you have access to this is information that's going to help you use the software better. So it's a very practical tool I like to do and have James on every week. James, thanks again for coming. Congratulations on the success.
John, thanks so much. It's always a pleasure to join you on the podcast. I really enjoy it and enjoy letting all of your listeners know, what we're adding, what new features we've been adding, and what we're adding. And we're just so thrilled about the results of the AILA survey, rating us the #1 immigration software by AILA members. That is really, we are just over the moon over that. So yeah, it definitely feels like a watershed moment. Yeah.
So there are a lot of neat stuff. The big one is you're going to this entirely unexpected market, which is signatures, e-signatures for contracts and stuff like that. A lot of people might have different. I currently use HelloSign, which Dropbox just bought. And when I heard the announcement, you guys going to signatures, I'm like, oh, you're going into a very competitive market, but it can save people a lot of money by not having these secondary things for signed contracts. So you probably save people a couple $100 a year per employee who's sending out this kind of stuff through these softwares.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, we added the Docketwise e-signature feature about a month ago, and really on the Docketwise Suite or Docketwise Enterprise, which are our middle and our highest tier, you have the e-signature feature, and it's just so convenient to be able to do it from within Docketwise. So you simply you're able to format a document that you've uploaded and place the fields where you need signatures or initials or a date. You just set that up and sort of save that template. And then you can send the request for the e-signature out to the client either by email or by text message.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they've signed, and they can either type their signature or they can draw their signature. And once they've submitted it, they will get an emailed copy, and you will get an emailed copy. And yeah, so it's just a great feature, and it saves it. I mean, if you can economize and have everything together in the same platform, that's the best. So
Definitely, and you also added some more languages. You may have added them a quarter ago or so, but you have some more languages that are accessible or usable for your software.
We're up to 3 languages, and the most recent 3 that we've added would be the Haitian Creole, the Korean, and the Turkish. Right, so that brings us to 11. And we keep track of those requests, when people request them, and the ones that we've added, the 11 that we have, are the ones that are in the most in demand.
And it's interesting, Turk's really good because we have a Turkish attorney as part of the team now. So we're going to do a marketing push into Turkey just on my law firm side. And I was wondering, like, it seems like it's a good indicator of how much demand there is in the marketplace for marketing based on what language you bring in. Because obviously you're getting a lot of demand for it, which means a lot of lawyers are using this. So the Haitian Creole, Turkish Korean, those are good markets that seem like there's clientele for it.
Yeah, I agree absolutely. We had a few key firms who really requested those because those tend to be markets where if you have that market, a significant portion of your business is coming from that market.
Yeah.
Right.
Very interesting. And what else? And there's a ton of new stuff that you have coming, or you have just came up or have coming.
Right. So let me just see. So another thing that we recently added was the ability to send the client messages securely through the Docketwise client portal. So now if you want to send a secure portal message, you write the message, it goes onto the portal to be accessed through a tab on the portal, and the client gets an email letting them know that they have a secure message. So they then have to log into the portal and read the message. So that's something that we've recently added. In terms of what's coming, let me just brief you on what our roadmap is. I mean, coming out imminently would be our custom reports feature. And this is going to enable you to use you're going to be able to run reports using essentially any field or column that's visible as a filter on your report. And then also save any combination of those criteria into a templated report so that you don't have to go back and rebuild what the report criteria are a second time. Once you've have it, you save it as a template, you can reuse it, and other users in your account will be able to use it as well. So that's coming imminently. And then moving into December, what is coming is templating the smart forms themselves. Right now in our smart form questionnaires, you can flag questions that are particularly important. You can write comments on questions to provide further context or advice to the client, where those are going to be able to be templated so that you wouldn't have to do that flagging and commenting. I mean, some users have told us that they have a certain set of questions that certain number of comments that they always add to give the client sort of more of an understanding of how to approach the question, and they want to save those comments. So we're allowing users to do that, and then reuse those templates. Also, be able to create custom questions and save those in the template, and add custom tabs under parties. So if you have a certain number of custom questions that you want to ask to kind of flesh out your understanding of the client's situation, you'll be able to add those in and then create tabs within the questionnaires to put those in. And the custom questions, you can have really any data format that you need from the client, whether you need them to write an answer, like a text answer, or make a multiple choice, or enter a number, or etc.
Real cool.
Yep. Now, also in December, accounting notes is coming out. Accounting notes feature that's going to be limited to the enterprise level of Docketwise, and that is where you're going to be able to sort of make notes in invoices and create certain groups among your users who have access to the invoice notes and the invoice editing. And then another thing coming out in December would be the second dimension to the custom reports. So this is a little bit abstract. This means that when you're running a report, you're going to be able to incorporate multiple types of resources into the report. So right now, if you're running a contacts report, you're running a report just on the contacts and using various filters. If you're running a report on the matters, you're running a report just on matters and using various filters. But what you're going to be able to do with the second dimension is combine those. So you'll be able to run a report across contacts and matters that looks for certain criteria amongst the contacts and certain criteria amongst the matters. And really, any two dimensions will be possible. You can run a report on contacts and leads, contacts and invoices, et cetera, and use any combination of the various filters.
Now, you mentioned enterprise users, and I always see this when you're buying software online. They have like basic, secondary, then enterprise. We have to call it in and to get the price for it or something like that. What does it mean to be enterprise, and what size firm or who would need something like that?
Well, anyone can, I mean, firms that use the enterprise level. So there's two major distinguishing features with the enterprise version of Docketwise, and that is that it allows you to set up branches. And branches typically is used when you have multiple office locations and you want to keep track of which clients and matters are being handled at which of your offices.
Oh, I see.
And the other feature would be the user groups. And the user groups you can think of as kind of like your teams within the office. Let's say you have one team that does all of your perm cases. Another team does all of the EB1 cases, and then those can be set up as user groups. And when you get a client of that type, you assign it to a user group. You can assign the client and the matter to the user group, and only members of your staff who are in that user group will be able to access that client and work with it.
Interesting. Okay, good to know. I was wondering what that all means, because I've never had to use enterprise models for software, so it's like this black box. I have no idea. That's real cool. So, I mean, you guys are keeping busy. There's always products coming up. Is there something that you might be coming up and say, I haven't asked you about this, but like in 6 months or 9 months on your to-do list that you're excited about, or you don't want to let the cat out of the bag yet.
There's so much coming after the new year. I mean, going into the new year, we're going to be allowing you to, let's say when USCIS does a form edition update, we're going to retain the old edition and allow you to choose between, populating the data into the old edition versus the new edition. We're also going to be notifying users when we do the form updates. People typically want the new edition, as soon as possible, but you do have some situations where the old edition might have fewer questions or something, and people want to submit the old edition. So we're going to give people that choice. We're going to be deepening the integration with MyCase and allow completed immigration forms that you've completed on Docketwise to sync over to MyCase for those firms that are running both side by side. We're going to be coming out with e-filing of DS-260. That's a huge one.
That's a big deal.
And that's a huge one, because really the overwhelming consensus is the less time that you spend entering data into the SEAC DS-260, the better. So we're going to be, and then also templating documents for e-signature. So this would be an expansion of the digital signature feature. So the way we have the digital signature feature right now is, when you're formatting the document that you need the client to sign, you have to place the field where you need them to sign in the document, but it doesn't get saved as a template that you can reuse. Like if you needed a different client to e-sign the same document, you would have to place the field again. But we're going to be making it possible to create templates of those, so you always have like your templated retainer agreement with all the signature fields in the right place, and so on, and also incorporating the use of merge tags together with the e-signature feature, so that you can pull data that you have collected from the client in the questionnaires into the document to be e-signed, which can then be templated with the signature field. So you can have the data coming in from the database into the document, and then the templated fields where the client needs to sign, and then just send out your request.
Wow, a lot going on. Obviously,
a lot going on.
Is probably, once that comes out, you should have like a big party or something like that. That's going to make you very competitive in the marketplace. That's a juicy one. Well, thanks for sharing. Anything else you want to leave with, James?
Those are the major ones. Those are the and there will be more next time we meet. But those are the major ones. We're going to be also the other. Let me just mention a smaller one is the ability to share file folders. So currently, when you upload the documents or files from the client to your Docketwise account, or the client uploads them through the questionnaire or the portal, you can organize those into folders and subfolders. We're going to make it possible to share that folder structure onto the client portal, so it's preserved. So it's preserved for the client on their side.
Good stuff. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, and that's what we have planned. So
I was going to say, Docketwise.com is a place to go. They have a special code that you get a percentage off. Go to Docketwise.com/immigration-lawyers-podcast. Use the code Immigration Lawyers Podcast to get extra discount. You guys have been kind enough to provide our listeners. Well, I look forward to talking again. You got wonderful information. Our magazine too. You always support, and you have articles and updates about these topics, so you'll be seeing it there as well. But I'm excited. 2023 is going to be big things for case processing, so I'm glad to be part of it.
Thanks so much, John. Always glad to talk to you. And
I appreciate it.
Thanks
Please
again.
We'll talk a little bit afterwards. But again, Docketwise.com is the site, and thanks, James, for coming on the show.
Thank you.